Chip Patterson put together an exclusive preseason ranking of the top quarterbacks in the SEC just for HQ Spotlight today. It's a list that could include multiple number one overall draft picks. Might be Garrett Nussmeier next year, might be Arch Manning the year after, but neither one of those guys are number one on Chip's list. It's South Carolina's Lenoris Sellers, and what a bunch of great quarterbacks we have in this conference with SEC Media Days underway now in Atlanta and South Carolina, and LSU meeting the media today. Let's bring in Chip, and we'll start at the top with South Carolina's Sellers. Why does he stand above the two Heisman frontrunners in your mind?
To me, what he was able to accomplish last season, leading South Carolina to a 9-3 regular season record, the big moments all throughout the year, all the way down to him putting the team on his back in that victory against the Clemson Tigers, their biggest rival. It just seems like he flashed in a way where there wasn't a lot to criticize. There was, however, a lot of excitement about what is to come. This power rankings, I approached it, Chris, as a starting point, like a starting grid if we were car racing out there. And I think that Lenoris Sellers, with what he was able to show us and what we know the next step in that progression might be, I think that it's awfully exciting about what that can do for Gamecocks football under Shane Beamer.
Okay, you got Garrett Nussmeier right behind him, and I don't think many people would argue with Nussmeier being a top one or even top two quarterback in the SEC. He's the second betting favorite to win the Heisman, behind only Arch Manning. But Arch Manning's behind him, not only him, but DJ Lagway as well. Explain your rankings of those three guys.
Right, so with Arch Manning, we got to see him in bits. You know, we saw him a couple years ago stepping in, not really a lot put on his plate. He got to have a little bit more of a role in his own specialized packages for Texas's offense, backing up Quinn Ewers, and we got to see just a little bit more. But Garrett Nussmeier, to me, is the closest thing to a total package that we've got. That improvement is so easy, Chris. He just has to do a better job of taking care of the football, because if Garrett Nussmeier can limit some of his interceptions and some of those turnovers, you are talking about somebody who really is not only the number one at the top of the SEC quarterback rankings, but as you suggested, the number one pick in the NFL draft. DJ Lagway has a little bit more of a body of work than Arch Manning, and really throughout this list, if you were able to put together multiple starts, or in Nussmeier's case, a lot of starts together of really solid quarterback play, then you are going to have an advantage over Arch Manning, who has the Heisman odds, who has the star power, and don't get it twisted, all of the gifts and tools in the world to be the best player in all of college football. I just need to see it a little bit more in terms of him being QB1 in Austin before I'm ready to break those ties of what I see as the top tier in the SEC.
Well, top tier there. Let's go bottom half of quarterbacks now, and it's interesting that Georgia and Alabama have lower tier quarterbacks, according to your rankings anyway. We'll start with Georgia. They have the 10th ranked quarterback this year, Gunnar Stockton. They said goodbye to Carson Beck. Stockton, he did see some big time action late in the season, but fell short in the playoff against Notre Dame. And at 10, you might have him ranked higher than some others based on what I've been hearing.
Yeah, I am on the other side of a lot of the player evaluators, your NFL draft types. I see in Gunnar Stockton somebody who can make everybody around him better. I love the competitiveness that he showed in the SEC championship game. I love the way that he took on, the responsibility after Carson Beck goes out with that injury. I think everyone rallied around him. Kirby Smart said as much, and that's kind of what we saw. And so I see for Gunnar Stockton the ability to him go and be a gamer, because guess what? Georgia has won national championships, multiple, with a gamer at quarterback. They don't need the big 6'5", 215, all the tools, everything looks great when they're out there in the underwear Olympics at the combine. No, Georgia football just needs somebody who can be a point guard, set up his teammates, and be able to be a great chemistry leader in the locker room. So Gunnar Stockton, I'm not going to be able to shoot him into the top 5 with those kind of traits, but looking at what happened last year and how I imagine he'll be this year, I definitely see Stockton being someone who can help Georgia be what they want to be, which is a title contender.
And we had same kind of questions about Stetson Bennett, and look what he did. Let's go to the bottom of the rankings now, outside the top 10, and that's where you'll find Tennessee, losing Nico, really pushing him out, who ends up at UCLA. Ty Simpson at Alabama. This is a guy, Chip, who's seen action in 15 games over the last 3 seasons, but Was any of that action in a real pressure-packed situation? What do we know about him?
Yeah, this is a player who has been in multiple quarterback battles in Tuscaloosa under multiple head coaches. He commits to Alabama back when Nick Saban was the head coach. You know, we'd seen him battle Jalen Milroe, and now he's, of course, in another quarterback battle that we believe he will end up at QB1. I'm glad that you highlighted this one, Chris, because Ty Simpson has the highest mobility within these rankings. And what I mean by that is Ty Simpson, as a blue chip recruit, has always come in with the idea that his ceiling is being a first-round NFL draft talent, but he hasn't been able to show that on the field because he hasn't been able to win the job. So clearly there's been a disconnect between his projections and his production in a practice sense. But if Ty Simpson, under Kalen DeBoer and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, if he can come close to recapturing some of the projections that were put on him coming out of high school, Ty Simpson starts at 13 because, again, it's like a starting point, a starting grid. Ty Simpson could finish as the best quarterback in the Southeastern Conference if everything comes together under Kalen DeBoer. So he's down at 13 because, like you said, a lot of his playing experience has not been competitive football against their best competition. But he will face that if he is QB1 of an Alabama team that wants to be in the college football playoff. Ty Simpson could end up at the top of this list by the end of the season.
Alabama meeting the media on Wednesday at SEC Media Days in Atlanta. Very latest Cover 3 podcast with Chip Patterson and the crew, previewing SEC Media Days and even reacting to some of the early statements today from Commissioner Greg Sankey.